one of the moments, like we all kind of have those situations in our life that happen, maybe more than once, probably a lot more. Like we'll have a conversation with somebody and we'll be in like the shower or something, and we'll just think about it and we'll be like, ugh, like cringe. Like, I can't believe I said that, or I can't believe I did that. That situation will forever be a very cringe-worthy situation. So just to give a little bit of like background, we kind of knew that there was a change of command coming up and that people were going to have to be selected for the wing commander, brigadier general. Um, and so 1-star general, change of command, pretty big event for the wing. I kind of knew I was going to be involved in it. And also I knew I wanted to shadow / help. I helped protocol set up the change of command as well. So I went there for that week that they were setting it up. That was also crazy exposure. Like I was in meetings with 3 or 4 people, like the executive officer of the commander and the commander. So me being involved firsthand in that was just like exploding my head of myself. Like I just thought I was the most awesome person, and like I know all these people now. I'm talking to like master sergeants and chiefs and stuff about like, oh no, we got to do it this way. And it's so horrible just the way I was talking and the way I let myself come off. And
so you're saying it got to your head a little bit.
Got to my head. I actually helped make the pamphlet about like seating charts and stuff. And on the pamphlet, it had the itinerary. The itinerary has the time of when the change of command starts, when things happen, at what point this happens, you say this, I say this. The script, everything. So it was, not only was it known because our names were in the pamphlet that I was doing the color guard event, I made it known to the new commander. That was his very first day at Whiteman. He was a colonel, and I said, "Oh, hey, just saying hi. How was the trip? XYZ. Yeah, I'm actually going to be doing the color guard event for you at your change of command." And I made sure, General Nichols. I said, "Hey, I'm going to be doing the color guard for you guys, and I'm going to be the one with the flag and stuff." Like, I was just spitting it out. No matter who was around, I made sure they knew.
And you were spending time with the 8th Air Force Command Chief, Chief Melvina Smith. She was in attendance.
And she definitely knew that. Hey,
yeah, she knew.
We got this locked down. The one and only senior airman, Michael Rosa, is taking command of a team, and he is going to nail that color.
In front of the whole base. And just so the listeners know, typically my schedulers would coordinate with protocol directly on the time. However, because we had a unique opportunity here where we had an honor guardsman also helping protocol, we completely relied on Sergeant Rosa for the arrival time and the start of the event. So go on.
So we're already kind of hinting at the plot here.
Right.
So basically, I messed up the times.
By how much?
By an hour.
By an hour. Luckily, we still show up early.
45 minutes early.
Yeah. And so that entrance, that walkway, that hallway into that hangar was the most awkward walk of all of our lives.
So it was in a hangar. So give them the setting. So the change of command is in a hangar, which is an open hangar, big garage that will fit a plane. The only thing structural in this building is one hallway that is from the front door to the hangar with multiple, little rooms off to the side, but one hallway into a big hangar, open hangar. And everybody's facing that door, the whole crowd, right? And there was like a flag that was covering
a massive, massive U.S. flag as the backdrop.
Yeah.
And that's all we could really see from our hallway. So run us through walking through that hallway and what happened.
So I don't really still remember the times, but all it is basically, let's say it started at 8. People were in positions in their seats no later than 7:45, and by 8 o'clock it started. Um, by 8:10 or something like that was when honor guard was queued, because the queue for honor guard to go was, I think, General Nichols, or the 2-star general that was the official commander representing that event, said something to trigger the national anthem or whatnot. So they called everybody to attention in the whole hangar. The command chief of the base, brigadier general, the new commander of the base, and the 2-star all were at attention, and we were not in the building for about, I think somebody said, I think Del Porto was there, and he said it was about a minute and a half to 2 minutes before we actually walked out. So we show up, and I'm still in a great mood. I'm still thinking like, oh, I'm gonna talk to 8th Air Force Command Chief. Hey, look at this. This is gonna be my flag. Look at our uniforms, are so nice. So we come rolling in, and people are giving us some really weird looks.
And it's dead silent too.
It's also dead silent, which is really weird, because normally before an event, people are talking, and 3, 4, close to 800 people or whatever talking sounds a lot louder than dead quiet. We kind of realized.
Did you see their faces? Do you remember how they looked? They looked like they saw a ghost, right?
Yeah. I just didn't know really what to make of the whole situation. I just soon realized that it started. I thought it just started earlier. I still didn't realize that I messed up the time. I thought they just started earlier, and I was like, well, why didn't you call me or text me? But yeah, we ended up fumbling. We had to put the flag poles together, and they kind of were fumbling around, and everybody, the whole wing was just standing there, and there was like a little gap between the flag on the ceiling and the floor. So like you could see our feet like moving around and like fumbling and putting together the rifles, and
the whole place could clearly see that you're late. They can hear you scrambling to put the equipment together. Everyone, hundreds of people witnessing this late arrival and this last minute scramble to make this happen while they sit in dead silence awkwardly. Pretty much a literal nightmare. Like, this is the type of bad dream that you would have, but this was a reality. This was really happening. We're known as one of the best honor guards in the Air Force, and here we were on one of the most important wing events that we could ever be a part of, and we goofed it up.
Botched horribly. I was on like 96 events details, and that was the only one that I was late to.
Wow.
So, made it count, I guess.
Yeah, so now what I want to know, what did you learn from that? What did you take away?
Oh man, that was one of those things where no matter what you take away, like that's just a horrible experience that you never want to be in again. So that was a big let the process that's already established kind of work itself out. Like, before I even say that, don't boast about things that you're going to do before you do them, because you might mess them up or not do them well. So I guess that's probably the biggest thing.
We just made it so much worse by, just raising the bar on how amazing this was going to be. And the more that we put into it beforehand made the outcome 10 times worse than if we just didn't say anything about it at all.
It was all in all horrible due to what we did and what we kind of hyped it up to be before. So yeah, if you're ever going to perform or do something, an event, a performance, an action, a speech, I would not put any standards on that before you do it. I guess most people are probably sitting there like, yeah, well, that's pretty obvious. It wasn't obvious to me at the time, I guess. I just have done so many of them that there was no room in my head for failure. So we let that get the best of us. We've done it so many times. It was impossible for us to fail. that wasn't even a possibility in our head for us to show up at a late time.
I think that's the definition of complacency.
Yeah, it is.
We became complacent and assumed that we could do no wrong, essentially.
Yep. And boy, did we.
What else did you learn from that?
I felt really bad because of what I did to my team, the position I put my team in. Those people had zero control over when we went and how we did. Technically, yes, they could have looked at some emails and said, "Oh, this is this," but they did their job as a member and trusted their leaders. And they thought, like, they have high standards and they like to do things very well, and they like to do things at like the best level that it can be done at. And I made it impossible for them to succeed at something that they were put to do. And that was probably the most bitterest feeling. Like, I messed up really bad, and I eventually got over it. And I knew that even if I messed up 2 more times, like we kind of talked about earlier, I know who I am and I know what I have to offer. Everybody's going to make mistakes, and you can't, classify somebody by their mistakes, depending on how many you have, but you know what I mean? So I didn't let that get to me, but it never, like, what I did to my team kind of stayed and resonated the most. So I just wanted to make sure I never put my team in the position to fail, because I kind of made them fail without even giving them the opportunity to succeed. And that was probably like the worst thing ever.
Dang, man.
So
yeah. I learned a few lessons from that myself on my end, where I was sitting. So I don't attend every event, every funeral, every colors event, obviously. This particular one, very high vis, and we don't have many events that large on our own base, right? So of course I went, and I'll never forget that walk down the hallway where, again, it's completely silent. So I thought no one was even in the hangar. I thought, man, we must be here like real early. I didn't realize they just called the room to attention, and they've been sitting in a dead silence for 2 minutes at that point. And I remember seeing Walt, who runs protocol, and I was like, hey, I just felt like I was on top of the world walking through that hallway, proud of my team. Hey. And every look that I got was like they had saw a ghost, because in their mind, we were already set up and out front. So when they saw us come in, they had this look of horror on their face. And I thought, man, that's odd. And then someone finally snaps out of it, because they were in a state of shock to the point of not even telling us to get out there. They were so caught off guard by this.
Nobody was like, hey, you guys.
But finally someone did and said, oh my God, you guys should be out there. And then panic set, and everyone just started like freaking out. And oh my gosh, you want to talk about a slice of humble pie. My God. From my end, the lessons I learned were kind of like what you already touched on, boasting about something that has yet to even occur, and becoming complacent because of that mindset. Right. And every detail should take the same level of attention, period. You shouldn't let your failures or your successes change your behaviors and what you're doing currently in the present. It has no effect on the present 100%. At all.
Yep.
Right. So it taught me that. And then the other thing it taught me was my boss got his butt chewed, who's a major, and that was rolling downhill. I was the next call on his list. Yeah. And I was terrified to talk to him. I never let him down at this level before. And I basically said, it's my fault. Really, at the end of the day, it's my fault. It's probably his fault in the way too. We kind of all shared the blame in the situation, but I just made sure to say, dude, Rosa's going through enough. I don't want to even pin this on him. That's the easy thing to do. I care about him too much. He's already went through enough. I mean, you got fired from the gig that you were, shadowing. Yeah.
They basically told me, you can just not show up anymore.
Protocol is not in your future is what you were told. And so you went through enough. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take full responsibility for this. I don't know what the hell is going to happen, but I'm just going to do that. So I take full responsibility. He's super pissed. He makes that clear. And then when we talked later, he said the one thing that saved me really, truly, was that I took ownership of the situation. He said, if you didn't do that, it would have been a whole different ballgame at that point. And that was a very big lesson for me too, hearing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's something I'll never forget. Learning lesson for everyone involved. And I just want to thank you for sharing that. I know I didn't tell you I was even going to ask you that, but
I forgot about that.
It's such a good story on, a story that we can share with other people to learn from, that I just had to have you share it.